I'm Naomi, and I am your host of this fabulous fan fanatic show, and I'm joined today by Mr.
Lacau.
And today we are going to be talking about phobias.
Yes.
Phobias in the movies.
Phobias in the movies. And let's go into a little bit of what we want to cover in this show. I think what we want to go into is what we have in films that also translate into real life and how real life kind of sways the manipulation of movies and how it's become such a huge part of our pop culture and what it does for our psyche. Especially in this episode.
What a beautifully esoteric way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
It's just you to a T.
I know, I come in as Frasier and you come in as Bulldog.
Exactly. The fun one, full of energy. Always. Always. And you got to analyze the shit out of it. All right. So let me ask you this. What is your phobia?
I hate fucking spiders. I have a major arachnophobia. And actually, ironically enough, I think the first movie that I saw with a spider was Arachnophobia. And that movie... It was one of those things that watching it, you're like, nope, I'm done. I'm done after like 5 minutes.
But what is it about the spider that scares you?
It's the hairiness of them.
Really?
Yeah.
But what about Charlotte's Web? She's so sweet.
Yeah, but I never watched it until I was an adult.
Well, it's a book.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I never read it.
What a pig. I mean, come on. That's what she says. You know, in their spider web, she creates the little messages. I like Templeton, personally, even though I hate rats. Templeton, the little rat, he carries all the messages. He brought over like crunchy or tasty for her to weave in her web. We're getting off track here a little bit, but
so I really have a terrible phobia of spiders, and especially like spider webs. When I get I walk into a spider web or anything like that, I get all like shivering and like
is
rubbing
this a technical
on my arms.
term?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, that's
it really
right.
is because it's yucky.
So how about you?
See, I have a fear of the sensation of falling. Like, it freaks me out. And I love roller coasters because that's a controlled fall. I think it's one of those things where you can confront your fear, but in a controlled setting where you know you're really not in danger. Mm-hmm. I hate the sensation of falling, and I hate fucking clowns. I hate them with a passion. They freak me the fuck out.
Okay.
So, I mean, but you know, I think the big thing, I saw a really cool poll that was done. It was in the United States, what the average Americans are afraid of, and I think that really sparked my interest in this because the number one fear, can you guess it? Number one fear in America, phobia.
I would say clowns.
No,
really,
not even on the top 10.
Really,
huh? Come on, dig deep. What do you think is the number one fear most people share?
The dark.
Nope.
Really?
Public speaking.
Oh well, yeah,
but it's a phobia. It's a legitimate phobia. It is the number one fear in the United States is public speaking.
Huh.
Followed by heights, bugs, snakes, or other animals, drowning, blood or needles, claustrophobia, another one I totally, flying, strangers, zombies, darkness, clowns is way down at the bottom, followed by ghosts, surprisingly, coming in at the bottom.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it depends on your fear factor of ghosts or how much you believe in them. If you don't believe in ghosts or if you've never seen them, I don't know. I don't know if you're afraid of ghosts or not.
I would say that I have a respect for them.
I'm scared of those stories that you see, like that people wake up and there's a ghost, like just at the other side of the room watching you. That's another thing. I don't like being watched because one, I start doing the thing where you're like checking your hair and your face and you're like, there's something on me that somebody's looking at me. But I just don't like being watched, and I don't like the sensation if you're sitting in your car and you look over and someone's like right there against your window watching you but not doing it. It's the most terrifying thing ever. It's very invasive. Direct eye contact is very invasive, I think. So it's creepy. And you think of all the stalker psycho movies, they always have that very intense, they're staring at you and you're just, you know, they're imagining your guts on their wall or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, public speaking, yes, is the number one fear, followed by all the other ones, which I think would be more common for movies to plan, because how are you going to plan public speaking for a movie?
Yeah, no, you can't.
But it is the number one fear, so I think it's that fear of exposure to the world and fucking up. So that's interesting to me. But the other ones I think are pretty understandable, and I think a lot of movies play into it. They pick one phobia and they really just push it to its limit. When I watch scary movies, it's gore. that gets me. It's not bugs or anything like that. Like, I don't get the sensation of bugs on me or anything like that. I do get freaked out by explicit gore because skin is really nasty. And if you get a really good makeup artist where you see like the skin stretching out and the blood, he's seen me watching a scary movie. I do not react well to even the notion, especially knives near skin, because I am really clumsy and I can just see that happening to me, like I don't know, stabbing myself in the throat when I'm cutting a carrot or something, because that's just my level of competency with a knife. So, and that really freaks me out, and that's what makes me uncomfortable watching movies. Like, that really, I'm like, oh no, I can't deal with it.
I love movies when they play on your phobia, especially one of the big ones that I think a lot of people don't know that they have a phobia of, but they do have a phobia of it, is enclosed spaces. That claustrophobia, I think, is probably a more substantial fear than even public speaking. But
that's a physical fear. That's something you really couldn't get out of. Like, I think that like you could train yourself to be numb to public speaking, and that just comes with time. There's not a really good way to desensitize yourself to claustrophobia.
And just seeing people in enclosed spaces, there's a few movies that there's people like buried alive.
I was just gonna say, to me, that is the most terrifying, when it's the buried alive and you know you can't get out. Like, that is terrifying to me. But even like just that where you can't move your arms sensation, like people getting stuck in elevators doesn't throw me off. That doesn't heighten my claustrophobia. It's really, I think it's that when you've got that constriction of movement. I mean, I hate it. I hate the sensation. So in movies, I hate it because it starts to activate that for me, because I'm like, oh no, what if I was there and I couldn't move my arms, or you got like an itch somewhere and you can't scratch it. I mean, it freaks me out.
Yeah. And when you get a masterful director behind it, you get moments where you feel that trigger that sets you off. Mm-hmm. And that's all played by camera angles, how close up they get to the person, how intense the actual scene is, and that's all played on camera movements, editing, music, everything, sounds.
It's usually the breathing. I find that to be disconcerting when there is no music, but you can hear the breath, the really loud breathing. That freaks me out a little bit too. But the things like the bugs and stuff like that, not so much.
There's a couple movies that have played it really well, especially in the like 80s, early 80s, late 70s.
I mean, like bugs crawling out of people, like especially dead people, or like maggots in infested wounds. That would get me, but like just bugs, I'm kind of like, okay, it's a bug.
So there was one movie, I cannot remember the name of it, but it was like one of those B films from back in the day, and it had a spider literally tearing a piece of a person's skin off and biting into it. So you saw mostly the spiders that have the hairiness, so they're not small spiders, and they actually have jaws. They have fangs, and they're able to actually eat your flesh.
Well, thank you for that nightmare. You know what? I don't like those stories about how a spider will crawl down your throat while you're asleep.
And your ears.
Don't say
and lay
shit
eggs in your
like
ears.
that. Don't say shit like that. That's just not nice.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly those kinds of fears that they play into.
I guess I don't have like a fear of like oversized bugs or things like that. That's never a bug.
There's another one.
That doesn't bother me to see in movies or anything like that.
There's actually there's a movie called Untitled Chapter. It's a Salvador Dali and Louis Buñuel film from the 1920s. And what it plays on is the fear of cutting skin. Mm-hmm. So one of the scenes, it's actually a moon, and the transition goes from a moon to a person's eyeball, and then a straight razor goes across the eyeball.
Oh, God, in the 20s?
Yeah.
Damn. That's harsh for the 20s.
Exactly. And then,
so there's gross and then there's horror in my mind, and they're two separate things. And even like in a horror movie, I think there's there's a strong difference between a psychological fear, and that's what they're playing into, as opposed to it's just gore and it's disgusting to look at.
I love psychological fear more than gore.
See, gory gets me. Psychological, not so much. It's the gory. I don't like seeing a lot of blood. Like, I hate a bloodbath. I mean, like, Scream is different because it's funny watching them get, like, ripped apart and all that. But
come on,
like,
Dead Alive? You saw that.
No, absolutely not. I hate the goriness. I hate, like, gushes of like, the guts squishing out and you're walking on it. Hells to the no. No, I don't like that. That I don't like. But psychological scary is not so bad for me, unless I've watched too much of it. if I binge watch like Walking Dead or something after a while, I go outside and I'm all paranoid and I want to bring like a baseball bat with me because I'm afraid that something's gonna happen. But
yeah, but that's more gory than psychological, I think.
I think it's that fear of being alone. Like it's sort of like the Twilight Zone, you know, being the last one left in the world. I mean, come on, how many end of the world zombie movies is it that the person didn't know what was happening? They just go walking around like a jackass going, well, the Times Square was completely empty, but that seemed totally normal to me at the moment. Like, what the fuck is that? I would sense something was wrong.
Yeah.
I really would. And I'm very unaware. You know me as a person. I'm quite unaware, but...
I don't think you will. I don't think you notice it.
I'll be like Anna in the Apocalypse. She's like doing a dance number with zombies behind her.
Yeah, I could see that.
Going to work and there's zombies everywhere.
I can see
but okay, but for me it's seeing this whole thing about what really creeps people out, and I wonder how much of that translates to when they go to a movie, because they say that movies, it's a voyeuristic thing. It's a chance to face your fears, it's a chance to face your suppressed violent tendencies almost, and it's a safe way to do it, an outlet for that primal brain. But movies that go to movies to get yourself scared, and you don't scare easy. You really don't. So why do you watch scary movies?
I love that exhilaration of it. I think that it is.
So are you like a serial killer deep down?
I think it's an outlet. It's an outlet for...
Well, that's scary.
Well, no.
Demented psycho.
I think it's an outlet for our fears and our kind of imaginations of what is out there and what people are actually capable of. So I think a lot of times what we fear is the unknown. And the more that we know, the more fears we have as well. So it's kind of that weird counterbalance where films give you so much more about the world, but also give you so much fear.
There is some fucked up shit in movies. Human Centipede.
Yeah, that was
what fucking drug did he take before writing that? Come on, like that is fucked up to the nth degree. Like
ass to mouth.
Seriously, who sits there going, that's Centipede? We could totally make a scary movie about a centipede, and that's what you come up with? I mean, come on. That's just like, I think it shows how demented human brains can really, really be. And that's some shit that you think comes out of like a dream late at night and it's brought to life. I cannot imagine you're just sitting there and that comes to your brain as a storyline concept. Like, what the fuck is going on in your life that this is coming up?
I think there's a very famous quote from Stephen King that he states, "My best stories have come from fever dreams in the middle of the night after a really bad cold."
Right.
And that is why I walk in the middle of the snow in the middle of winter to make sure I get a cold, because my best ideas have come from that.
I feel like a lot of authors have said it came from like a dream that they had and then they were able to flesh out the story, because it's really when you go to sleep, your brain is completely released to do whatever it wants, and normally you forget that when you wake up in the morning, but they say when you dream you have really actually violent tendencies that come out. It's that primitive brain with no hold in it, and that's why you forget, because it's a psychological defense mechanism against what your brain is bringing out there. But you can't always, especially if you're woken up suddenly, you'll retain it a little bit more because you haven't had a chance to suppress it back down again.
And also I think a lot of that is, and this is where my personal beliefs go into, is that I think a lot of dreams are actually past life tendencies or past life experiences that have happened. So a lot of people, anybody that might have been fucking serial killer, sociopath, any of that shit, the dreams that you have could actually be manifestations from that previous lives.
That would be such a cool movie if you dreamed about your former life as a psycho.
Well, they have. They've done movies, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never,
actually, there's one with Malcolm McDowell that it's actually about that he was actually Jack the Ripper.
Oh, wow.
In a previous life.
That's pretty nifty. It's sort of like defending your life. Can you imagine? You go into the Hall of Past Lives Pavilion and that's what you get? How depressing would that be? No wonder you went back. Although, why would you have any fear then?
Yeah.
You gotta wonder. Like, you think you'd be kind of fearless.
You would think that, actually, it's been psychologically proven that most sociopaths and serial killers actually have more fears than the normal person. And that's why they manifest those violent tendencies, is to face their fears and stop them from happening. If you think about it, Buffalo Bill, what does he have a fear of? What does he have that's basically triggered him? Is not being accepted by normal society for being transgender. That is his fear. His fear is of normal people that cannot accept him as transgender.
I think some people are just fucked up, and they will always be fucked up, and they're not afraid of a damn thing.
I don't agree with that. I think
some people are. I think, some people, it's a fear maybe coming out, but I think some people are just genuinely fucked up. I've read enough true crime, different stories and elements that I think that some people are just fucked up and they like exerting power over people, and it has nothing to do with an innate fear. I think Ted Bundy would be a perfect example of that.
But again, it's all tendencies that root cause is usually from their either childhood or traumas that they faced as either a child, a teenager, or adult.
I'm sorry, my bullshit radar was going off a little bit with that.
It's truth.
Getting back on track.
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't believe in John Young. John Young.
John Young, what the hell is that? All the John Youngs out there, I don't believe in you.
About Jung.
It's behaviorism, but it's learned. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do quite a bit.
Then
mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I believe that psychos sometimes aren't psychos Freudian. For the sake of psychos.
You're not a Freudian, so.
Well, I don't have a penis, so. Not like your dick mic there.
But anyways, no, I do think that a lot of horror films and stuff like that, the root cause of us going out to watch them is that exhilaration. That moment of where we actually are frightened. That's why jump scares are so effective, is because they're moments that we didn't expect and they happen suddenly, and our exhilaration, our
adrenaline.
Our adrenaline shoots through the roof, and that releases endorphins, and we actually feel pleasure from that.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I completely agree. I don't like jump scares. I honestly don't. But it's more like just because it gets in my brain later on to be afraid. I especially don't like it in person. Like I said, I hate it. I hate being scared in person. That's why I hate Halloween Horror Nights with a passion. Oh my God, no, I can't deal with that. And that clown section kills me. I will not walk through it. It's just so freaky. Again, part of it is because they stare at you. It's that they don't break eye contact. Yeah. They don't even touch you, but it's freaky as hell because it's like, why are you staring at me? Like, I can't deal with it. But like those jump scares movies, I'm so susceptible to it. Like, it just takes that loud music, nothing's happening, and it's that like they're creeping around a corner and there's nothing there, but the music was there and I'm just waiting to be scared. So I love it. It's exhilarating. But Hitchcock said that. He said that people are natural voyeurs and that's why they like watching scary movies. It's a chance to just release that, to either be scared or to be in the first person point of view, which is more and more common, I think, in movies where you're getting like both sides of it, the
I think
killer
also,
view and the victim view.
I think it also gives you a perspective on human psychology. That a lot of times, it's very subtle the way that it happens, but I think it does play into us trying to connect with people and trying to figure out why people are the way they are. And the only way that people that don't have those thoughts or those tendencies or anything like that is by exposure in movies. And us getting that experience of these psychopaths and serial killers, that how they feel. That's our closest moment where we could actually experience what they experience.
I guess.
Because we can't.
One hopes.
Oh, yeah.
One hopes you're not raking up the body count in your off hours.
Exactly.
That'd be naughty.
Yeah. Well, I have a storage unit. I needed a larger storage unit. Those new totes. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, those bigger totes. Yeah, what do you have in your storage unit? Ropes, gloves.
No. That's in my side drawer. But anyways, I digress.
A little bit. I don't know. For me, scary movies, for me, it's like, again, I don't like that uncomfortable feeling from them. I like going to a scary movie and it's like we watched one just recently. I don't even know the name of it, where they were locked in a house. There was all sorts of demented things that were happening to them, demented people, but there was no why. I don't like it when it gets into this cheesy psychological analysis. I like going into a scary movie, being scared the crap out of me, but I don't like sitting through all the psychological babble that they usually have at the end. It's like that last 20 minutes is always the why. I like the movies where there is no why.
Yeah.
I think it's so much more terrifying when it's just flat out psychotic rampage killing or whatever. But they don't stop to explain the why or the backstory or, when they were young and they were molested by their step-parent. Whatever. I don't like that because I think it takes away from the scary then.
I think so, too.
I don't go to a movie to not be scared. I go to a movie to be scared. So, for me, that's the scary movie I like. I like when it just terrifies the crap out of you and you're up at night and you can't sleep. I'm going to tell you, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That scene where she is, sitting bent backwards at 3 o'clock in the morning still terrifies me to this day. And I saw it, 14 years ago at this point, and I still remember that scene. And if I wake up at 3:33 in the morning, I'm like, oh my god, the demons are coming for me. That shit sticks with me. And that's what I love. Movies that, haunt my dreams for years afterward.
Have you ever seen The Exorcist, the original Exorcist?
I haven't. I've seen clips from it. I feel like it's a movie where you've seen, the same damn clip 5 times, but you feel like you get the gist of the movie from it.
That is one of those movies where, oh my god, Friedkin is the director, and he is phenomenal. He does such a great job of, again, it's atmospheric. It's that moment where him on set, he actually made the room go down to 20 degrees. So there's scenes where the people are actually breathing that cold air out. That's because the set was that cold.
So he's like a method director.
And it was for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
It was very much like the style of Kubrick where he puts people in those uncomfortable situations so they can react to the uncomfortable situations. Mm-hmm. Even as actors, a lot of times it's very hard to imagine what you would do in a scenario like that. So by being put into those scenarios without being told, you're made to react appropriately.
Right. Okay, so for me, Kubrick-centric moment, The Shining. The scariest thing for me are those scenes with just the twins. They're not even fucking doing anything. They're just creepy as fuck on their own. But then, once you get into, the backstories sometimes, that's where it loses me a little bit. I just really like it when he's crazy. They're all the crazy people. I've told you 1,000 times, that chick in the bathtub. That scene, I cannot go into a bathroom without checking the bathtub to make sure there's no chick in there. It is the most disturbing scene ever. And I don't know why. She's not even doing anything. It's when she's normal in the bathtub, she just looks so odd. I can't. It's so music. Uncomfortable. Oh,
the music.
Yeah, the music terrifies me. I think music is 90% of what brings that fear. It's not really what they're doing half the time, because most of the time they're walking slowly. It's that music, that build up, but her in the bathroom, even the music is so it's just so disturbing, and you're so aware. Dum, dum, oh god, no, don't do that. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I can't deal with it. I hate that scene. I hate it because it's slow, and you're just literally what is gonna happen? You're sitting on the edge of the seat going, something is gonna happen. I don't want to see what's gonna happen, but you keep looking because you got assholes sitting next to you that will not protect you even when they say they will.
But also the other scene, I think one of the most terrifying scenes in The Shining is actually Jack Nicholson's face as he's staring off, and he looks like a goddamn minotaur with the facial expression that he has. And he has this demented face where he's just staring right at the camera. He's staring right into your soul and telling you exactly what he's feeling and what's going through his mind. And you just saw images that show a minotaur, that show psychopathic tendencies and shit like that, because you just see the twins right before in the previous scene,
right? And
then it jumps to him in that scene staring in that huge ballroom. Right below him is the labyrinth of the hedge maze, and then he looks down at the hedge maze, and it's that disorientation that from his face to the hedge maze, and then it zooms into the hedge maze, and you see people walking in it.
Yeah, so
it's so fucking psychological the way that film plays on your psyche, and it doesn't make sense. There's rooms that shouldn't be in places. There's scenes that make no sense. But answer
me this. You're not actually scared when you watch The Shining.
Oh, I'm fucking terrified.
Are you really?
I really am.
Really terrified? Or is it you're just an appreciation of how it's put together?
No. I when that first music comes on, I get fucking goosebumps from it.
Okay, so answer this, though. What movie? You don't scare easy. You really don't. You don't have a weak stomach for gore. I've seen you laugh your way through people getting decapitated and people dancing in their blood. Have you ever seen a movie that scared you so much you didn't want to watch it again? or it took you a bit to work up the nerve to watch it again?
I would say actually The Fourth Kind. The Fourth Kind, it's the mockumentary.
Oh yeah,
about the aliens. Mm-hmm. That movie, I don't know why I connected so much to it. I think it's the way that it's played out, that it's played like a documentary. It plays into your fears really easily.
Right.
And I saw it at a very impressionable moment in my life. Mm-hmm. And I saw it by myself. The way that horror movies are meant to be watched. By yourself, alone, in the dark, with surround sound.
Right.
So those, first of all, being by yourself watching a horror movie amplifies everything. Being alone in a dark room by yourself.
You know what they say, if you're ever feeling lonely, put on a scary movie. You won't feel lonely anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I like watching movies completely pitch black rooms. So you have no idea what's around you.
I don't like that. I really don't. I don't like that sensation because I do get easily creeped out. For me, I'm going to say the movie I cannot work up to watching in is the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Oh, that was good, though.
But that, again, it's that documentary style. I think that's more terrifying, even when you know that it's a mockumentary, basically. It's so well done. Yeah. It is so well done, and it plays into those fears because it feels like it's something that could happen. And I think that's what I respond to more, is something that feels like it legitimately could happen. Or I've seen similar cases. If you have not seen the Poughkeepsie Tapes, that is definitely, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It is. It really is.
It feels very legitimate. It plays into a lot of cases that have come up where people have gone missing. No one knew what happened to them. They thought they had died. So it's pretty terrifying. The guy is terrifying, and it keeps you going like, don't do that. Don't do that. It is that. That is what freaks me out, where it feels so real to me. Like, yeah. I could see it easily happening, and that sticks with me. There's other ones, I mean, I've watched them, you see me, I cower in fear, but I'm not really, by the end of it, I'm like, okay, I can get past this, because it felt so out of the realm of reality. I'm like, all right, this is just, it was a good slasher movie, I appreciated being scared, but it didn't stick with me, it didn't haunt me the way those scary, those, to me, are the mark of a good scary movie, the ones that stay with you.
I think the other one,
and you're kind of like, really... I don't want to watch it again, or you want to share it, because you're like, this is so powerful, you have to see it, because you just will fuck up your head.
The one that I really like, and this is a cliche across horror movies, the fucking Exorcist. The Exorcist, you watch that in the dark, by yourself, in a huge room. Holy fuck, you will be paranoid as hell for the whole day. Mm-hmm. And more. Because that movie, it gets under your skin. And it's the way that it's done, it's the way that it's shot, the way the music plays out, the acting. It's fucking superb storytelling at its best. And it really gets under your skin. I love movies that get under your skin and really find the root cause of fear in humanity. And they choose ways to make you feel what the main character in the film is actually feeling. That is terrifying.
Those are terrifying to me. I don't like cliched movies. Like, I know a lot of people talk about how, like, Hitchcock was the master of fear. And I totally get that back then, with the less of an exposure to things like that, and the fact that what he was doing was cutting edge for his time, was scary. He did have a theory that the scariest thing to be is someplace where you feel totally comfortable. That's why bathrooms were usually featured in his movies, because it's a place where people generally feel safe, and it's where you're least safe of all. But those kind of movies don't really scare me. Again, it's that psychological whatever... I don't know. Those things don't scare me. Those cliched movies, those jump scare movies that are really gory. I mean, yeah, I'll hide because I don't want to see that gore, actually. But I mean, you're right. If it's something where I can kind of like, oh, okay, it's done, whatever at the end.
I honestly like the Halloweens, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Candyman, all those like stereotypical 80s horror films. They don't scare me at all. They really, movies. Yeah, they really don't scare me. And even like the more terrifying ones like Psycho and stuff like that, they don't scare me.
Although I will say, and this is, I don't know why it sticks with me. Night of the Living Dead, the original one.
Really?
It's just something like the way it was shot. I think, again, it's the music, it's the way it was shot, and I think it makes you feel so uncomfortable as you're watching it. I don't know, like that little girl in the basement. I'm like, seriously, why don't you beat her over the head with a board or something like that? You know, it's really creepy when he walks in there and he sees her eating her mom. It's really disturbing. The way it was shot, I think because it's at weird angles, it's not how you would expect it. It throws you off while you're watching it. Yeah. I don't know. That movie sticks with me. And you know what? I cannot go to a cemetery to this day without hearing, "They're coming for you, Barbara." I cannot go into a cemetery without thinking of that movie. So yeah, I'm going to put that up there on my list of, I saw it when I was young. I think my sister made me watch it when I was like 6 years old, and it has terrified me ever since then. I've never been able to sit through it and not get freaked out by that movie.
Huh. Usually what terrifies me are movies that are like very supernatural and stuff like that, where it's like ghosts or spirits and stuff like that coming out because they're trying to get through windows and mirrors and shit like that. I hate movies where it's like someone in a mirror that's not you. I don't like it when they play with mirrors, especially when it's something where they're looking in the mirror and you see the back of their head and they're looking at the mirror. I don't know why. That freaks me the fuck out. I have a fear of mirrors too because of that. Like, if I walk by a mirror and it's the middle of the night and the lights aren't on, I always, for some reason, think Bloody Mary in my head. And I'm like, oh, please, God, don't let her release her just from thinking in my head. But it's shit that I get, carried from, like, being a child. And I just can't let go of. I really can't. At all. Yeah, I know.
I think it's those movies I think that you saw when you were a child, and you, like, sometimes you don't get past, even though, logically as an adult, they're not that scary, but they terrified you so much as a kid. And, from what I was seeing, it's just a lot of the fears that we have are from stuff you were exposed to as a kid and you just never let go of it. And that's where those phobias come from.
Yeah, I was terrified of spirits and ghosts and shit like that. So that always really terrified me as a kid. But no, yeah, I really do think that, and that's why I'm pretty sure why Exorcist really got to me, and a couple other movies that are about ghosts and spirits and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, ghosts don't bother me. Sorry, ghosts don't bother me that much in movies. I mean, there's something kind of freaky about the fact that you can't usually combat a ghost on any real level. They bring in religious stuff all the time with that. I think that irritates me more than anything else when it starts getting ultra religious and all that, but because it seems a lot of those movies do. There's always a preacher or someone brought in to exorcise a place, or I don't know, or they start praying to God all the time, and I get kind of frustrated with that. But or some of them, they just kind of, I don't know, meander off into nothing, like The Others, which I thought was going to be like a really cool concept for a movie, and it's just that's a slow burn.
That's a real slow burn.
That's a real slow burn, and it's like, it's got some, like, the first time you see it, like, oh, okay, like, the mirrors and the music builds up, and it can kind of give you a jump scare every now and then, but then you're like, oh, that was a lot of build up for nothing.
Yeah.
It was pretty lame. Like, I hate movies like that, where it tapers into nothing, and it's like, oh, man, you went that route? Like, that's what you did with that concept? That could have been cool. And,
I love the Poltergeist. That actually, the original Poltergeist. That actually really got under my skin a lot. And that, again, it plays multiple fears. It plays the fear of kids. It plays the fear of, dolls, clowns, all that stuff.
So if you had to pick, kind of getting back on track, if you had to pick, what do you think are some of the freakiest things that they've used in movies, though? Like in a movie, if you see it, you're kind of like, oh. Like, for me, it's dolls. Dolls freak me out. They're creepy. I don't have dolls in my house. When my kids want dolls, I'm like, depending on the doll, especially those porcelain dolls that just sit there, those decorative dolls. I don't mind the ones they actually play with, but those decorative dolls that just sort of sit and stare at you, and they feel evil and possessed even in the box. I cannot get on board with that. To me, I don't like movies like that. I don't like movies with freaky little kids in them. Like The Ring. The Ring screws with my head so bad. That movie, I can't sit. I've never actually sat through it all the way because it freaks me out. I've seen pieces of it all the way through, but I've never actually sat all the way through and watched it.
Yeah.
So things like that freak me out a lot. But what about you? Like, when you see it in a movie and you just know that it's gonna...
I think the biggest thing is...
And then again, the mutilation of skin. Like, I see that, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be a bad burn for me.
I think the biggest one, honestly, is the...
Kids are creepy. I'm sorry. Kids are creepy.
I would say spirits and stuff like that.
Besides spirits. Come on, you already said that.
When they play it right.
Something else. Come on.
I think the only other thing
It cannot be just spirits are the only thing that get you. You know what I didn't like? House of Wax. That
You
movie,
see, that didn't scare me
it
at
didn't
all.
scare me. It's that scene when he's sitting at the piano and they're picking away at his face and you see like the teeth and he's still alive. Like that, oh, God, again, it's that skin thing. I'm
that.
like, oh gosh, I cannot get on board with it.
I think also...
Or when they cut her finger off with the bolt cutter, I'm like, oh God, no.
I think what makes me cringe more than horror and more than like scared is more like those moments where they're like a piece of glass and they're about to step on it. And
You
it's
cringe a lot when it's someone about to step on something, especially nails. I've seen
Yeah.
that where you're like, no, God.
It's that slow thing that's gonna penetrate your skin, and it slowly goes, and it goes in. It's like, oh,
Yeah, I've seen you. You do not react well to that. It's like when they're about to put their hand on something, or they're about
Yeah.
to step on something, especially the heel.
yeah.
I've noticed you a lot. You get really
Like,
squeamish with
ooh.
that. Like you're like, ugh. And then when they pull it out, I've noticed you're like, oh God. You're like, yeah. So I've seen that. You don't like when things get impaled in people and they have to pull them back out again. I've noticed that about you.
Well, I have had too many occasions where things have
Well,
gone
that's
into my
called
skin.
being a dumbass. Like I think I'm a dumbass, but you know. I was sitting one time doing an arts and craft project with an X-Acto knife, and I literally watched it roll off the table, like in slow motion it felt like, and I watched it land right into my thigh, because for some reason, even though it felt slow-mo, I didn't feel a need to stop it. Because, you know, why would you? Being acutely aware of its fact that it's going to stab you. It's sort of like the scene in Young Frankenstein when he stabs himself in the thigh with the scalpel.
I think there was one time where we were playing in a house that was abandoned and stuff like that, and
Why?
I
Why would you do that?
don't know, because it's fun to explore.
You know, this is how scary movies start. I don't know how many times I've had to tell you that this is how horror slasher movies start. When you start going down random roads or walking in buildings. Did you not watch The Blair Witch? Did you not see what happens when you go into abandoned buildings?
Well, anyways, we went into abandoned house and we're like, oh, let's check it out, because it was all like wood and stuff like that. And I went to open one of the doors, and I didn't see that one of the boards were like flipped open.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a nail that was like about this long, probably about 6 inches
Ugh.
long, and it went into my
I
foot.
like how that's 6 inches. You know, he was holding his fingers about 2 inches apart, which is everything you need to know about men.
So the nail went into my skin, and it past my shoe and everything.
Okay, so shout out to my brother. The first thing he would be going is tetanus, tetanus. I've had a lot of road trip adventures with my friend though, and we've ended up lost in a lot of places where it was like abandoned houses at the end of a road, and I've seen her have almost an aneurysm in her head going, this is how we're gonna die. We need to reverse right now. Like, I never went to an abandoned house at the end of a road and was like, well, let's just stop here and explore the house. I'm not an urban explorer like that. I'm like, oh my God, there's someone in there and they're waiting to kill you. Because, you know what? How does it always happen in a scary movie? It's always like they break down and there's this creepy house in the end of a lane and there happens to be a psycho killer. How come it is never a nice lady with gingerbread cookies that aren't poisoned and they just call the tow truck and send you on your way? I get that wouldn't be a very good movie, but seriously, why does that never happen? Why is it never a thing? It's always like out of 700 houses that they could have gone into, they choose the one person who happens to be a serial killer who will mount your head up on a post and then make jewelry out of your bones. I mean, like, what is that? Seriously. Lewis has disappeared for a minute. And now he's coming back.
So yeah, no, I really do. I love exploring. And you know, yeah, sometimes you get into stupid shit, but it's fun. Like, I've explored what do you call it, abandoned golf courses and stuff like that.
See, that I don't think would scare me as much. I do get freaked out by haunted places just because not because I sense anything. I think I'm actually sort of not super perceptive to other things that are going on, but the way other people react to it. We went to a house where they said that it was haunted, and I wasn't sensing anything because apparently I'm like dead. But the two other people I was with, Lewis being one of them, they were in a room and they were like, "Do you sense it? They're here. They're watching us." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Look at this. Look at all those antiques around." And they are like sensing evil and want to get out of the room. And I'm like, "Oh, look, a chair and a desk." And I don't sense it, but other people do. And that freaks me out because I'm like, is it watching me now? Is it like next to me? I am like one of those people, I would have like a horrible demon floating on my head and be completely unaware of it. And then some super perceptive, enlightened person would be able to tell, and that kind of terrifies me a little bit, because like other people say they sense these things all the time, and I'm like, oh look, butterflies. Like, I don't see like demented demons sitting in the ground by me. I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. I'm completely unaware.
Probably a good thing.
You're super perceptive though, so
Yeah.
We're going to Key West. There are a lot of ghosts there, and we're staying in a haunted hotel.
Hell yeah.
So I'm actually kind of psyching myself out, because I was sitting up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh my God, what if I wake up and there's a ghost over me and I can't scream, or Lewis is dead to the world and I can't deal with this and process this. I'm actually kind of scared now, because I'm really afraid that something's going to pop up in our room and I'm not going to be able to process that. I know you jackass would probably not wake up, and I'm flipping out with like a lady ghost leaning over me, just tucking me in because she's a super nice hostess, but I could not deal with that. I don't know what I would do if I actually saw a ghost. I think, okay, true story. I was watching the Ghost Story movie, and I fell asleep while watching it, but it was on my phone, so it was right next to my head. I woke up, and it was a scene with the guy with a sheet on, and I punched my phone and started screaming like a banshee, and my neighbors upstairs are like, shut the fuck up! I'm like, I can't, there's a ghost in my room! They dealt with a lot with me.
Yeah.
But it was scary. I mean, I don't like people. If I ever see you in a sheet popping around a corner, I cannot be blamed for what's going to happen to your nutsack.
So I think that's a good wrap-up point right there.
I think so.
So
your nutsack being threatened.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how all horror movies should end.
I think it's a good way to wrap everything up,
Yeah. Pun intended. But anyways, my name is Lacau.
My name is Naomi.
And this is Lunattix. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel. Check us out. Enjoy the stuff on Facebook that we'll be posting and all that through the Man Bites Media page. Also, we do have a merch page that we do movie-related, fandom-related buttons, pins, all kinds of
greeting cards, lots of fandom good stuff.
Yeah. So we'll be linking the website and everything down below as well. And if you like it, please share it, send it, give it as a present to your friends. Both the audio and the merch.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. I think you're losing your path on that sentence.
I know, you
really need to wrap it up.
Yep. So thank you guys, and we'll have you guys around next time. I lost my path.
I'm really stroking out right now.
Yep. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye. Enjoy the fear, mayhem, and all the above. Good.